guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Ladera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company, along with Shelley Lewis, who is joining us for the first part of the show, as well as some other special guests that we're going to bring into the studio momentarily via live stream. We are talking today about a topic that is very, what can I say, emotive. And a lot of people are up in arms over this topic for whatever reason, depending on their viewpoint and where they're coming from. But it seems that some recent utterings, I call them, by the press secretary, Clint Watson, in the office of the Prime Minister, has sparked even more debate on this topic when he said, in effect, that when it comes to the question of marital rape, he was not hearing sufficient from the women's groups on the matter. Well, that didn't go down too well with the women's groups, because according to them, they've been speaking on this matter for quite some time. And if he hasn't been hearing, either he hasn't been listening, or more so, the persons who he worked for haven't been listening, or they've just been ignoring the cries of the women. And so this is what we're going to be talking about today. Before I bring in my guests, I'm going to play that clip, a news clipping of what Mr. Watson had to say as it relates to not hearing sufficient from women's groups. And Jason, I need you to play that clip for me, please.
Our secretary in the office of the Prime Minister, Clint Watson, says government has reportedly not moved as swiftly as many would have liked on amending legislation to criminalize marital rape due to a lack of advocacy on the controversial issue.
The groups are quiet. A lot of the activist groups and the groups that protect women, where are your voices? This is now when it's time to come forward and to express your concern and your view and to advocate, to present proposals of legislation to do it.
But Bradesta Moore, president and founder of Women United, says Watson's comments are a slap in the face to various groups who have in recent times been strong and loud proponents of change. Adding insult to injury, Moore says based on Watson's comments, it appears as if their cries since 2015 have fallen on deaf ears.
We've had press conferences. We've sent a letter from about 50 some NGOs to the Prime Minister and the Minister of Social Services and the various different groups, asking for them to table the bill. We've been on radio shows, we've been on talk shows, we've been just every possible opportunity. We've been advocating for them to table these bills, pass the bills, make sure that the gender-based violence bill, we talk about marital rape, that the amendments are tabled.
This week, a University of the Bahamas study that concluded that 1 in every 12 women is raped by her husband exclamated an alarming statistic that more and several other advocacy, political, and religious groups have been lobbying against for years.
We heard it from reporters. And while that may sound loud, that's not the voice of the people, even though some people believe they are. We need the advocacy groups and the people who represent women to come forward and say, this is what we want, present their views, and it will happen.
I don't know what Mr. Watson is talking about and saying that we have not been out. What's been happening is when they have these symposiums, they don't invite all of the stakeholders. They invite just a handful of them. And it's a handful of us who are out there advocating, talking about this over and over and over again.
Moore's calling Watson's comments on the matter just another delay tactic for the government. This as he commits that the Davis administration will do what they can to protect the rights of women.
There are discussions taking place at the cabinet level. There are discussions. You've heard views of the Attorney General. You've heard him say that they're looking into things and building discussions because, of course, it has to be something that everybody can at least buy into, and that's continuing to happen.
With this in mind, Moore is promising not to sit idly by as the safety of women and children remain at stake.
If they want to see us, we can do some demonstration. We can show up right in their face, loud and clear. Because it seems like they're not hearing from us with our silent voices. Our voices are not loud enough.
Well, there's a saying, be careful what you ask for because you just may get it. Shelley, I need you to turn your device down, please. Jason, let's bring all of the guests into the studio. Joining Shelley and I for this discussion are the founder of Silent No More, Cindy Gadet. Also joining us are the founder of 242 Domestic Violence Support Network, Inc., Siobhan Hollis. We also have the founder of Everyone Counts organization and president of Women of Strength Association, Nyoka Johnson. And last but not least, the treasurer of the Coalition of Child Advocates, Hadassah Johnson. Ladies, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the show. Well, those comments sure sparked a debate and incensed quite a number of women throughout the country, especially the leaders of the organizations who have been for some time, as Podesta said in that clipping, advocating for these changes. And then comes Mr. Watson saying, I can't hear you all.
You're not being heard.
You're not being heard. What are your thoughts, ladies? Shelley, let's start with Shelley Lewis because she's only got a couple of minutes to give us in this discussion. Huh?
Okay, Michelle.
Bring Shelley into the conversation as well, please. Go ahead, Shelley.
Well, Michelle, I was present at that press briefing last week when Clint would have made those remarks, and I was quite taken aback by what he had said because I know and we've been carrying stories for quite some time, and we've been advocating them. Many persons, many groups that have been advocating for these. But these changes for legislation with regard to this issue. And when Clint said that,
you might want to turn that off because we've got you on the two shot anyway.
When Clint said that, I was really, like I said, I was taken aback because we've been advocating. I'm also a part, not just a part of the media, but I'm also a part of these groups. Some of these groups, I'm a part of the Women and Girls Mentorship Coalition and the Girls United, and we've been pushing for this legislation. We've been pushing for changes for the rights of women in this country for quite some time. And I personally feel if it was not so much coming across as a stalling tactic, I feel as though Clint was not informed, because to say that we are not, nothing has been said, we are silent, it was an understatement, because quite recently there have been numerous reports, numerous stories. There was also a symposium that we went live from, and we carried the stories. We spoke with different persons, different groups, and so forth. How much more can be said, that has already been said, that is going to get the government's attention to move forward with what is needed in this country with regards to women and, you know, what is happening with our women.
So why do you think, and ladies on the stream, we're going to let y'all jump in a second, why would they want to stall this? Do you think it's because of pushback that they're receiving from certain sectors in our society? Why would they want to stall this, in your opinion?
Well, we've been hearing a lot of different responses from the religious community, from men in general. You know, we go to social media and we see the responses that people is that's coming across with regards to this issue. It's mixed. Not everyone's in agreement with what is happening, what is being proposed. You have men, even at that symposium, that there was a man who felt as though men are being emasculated, they're not getting the rights that they deserve, and this is about a woman's issue. You know, it's not all going to be everyone in agreement with what's going on, but it's coming across as if nothing is being said and nothing is being done. And I think it was very disingenuous of Watson to make those remarks, is to suggest that women are too silent. You know, because every time something happens, we speak out against it. We talk in our circles and so forth. We put together documents and present to the government. And you know, just last week, the Prime Minister himself was in support of it. So I'm worried of the fact that Clint would have made those remarks, considering that the Prime Minister himself has indicated that he was in support of moving forward with this.
So you think there's a disconnect somewhere within that office? There is a disconnect
because, and I'm going to be quite frank with it, when we go to briefings on Thursday or Friday, sometimes the questions put to Clint are not always, the answer is not always what is expected. Because we as journalists, we go there, with our research, and sometimes they ask us in advance for questions. And sometimes I personally don't submit questions, because when you submit questions, you prepare them. Yes, you prepare them, but sometimes the questions that need to be asked are not questions in advance. Sometimes they're spontaneous. And I know that Friday we were asking Clint quite a number of questions, because there was the immigration issue, there was the marital rape issue, there was everything. And when Clint responded to some of these questions, I personally don't think it's based on knowledge and understanding and experience of what is going on at the time, because sometimes I don't agree with some of the responses that Clint made.
But you think he's just answering to appear that he is on top of things?
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, ladies, let's bring you all into the conversation now. I know that many of you were quite incensed, if not all of you, by those comments by Mr. Watson, because I understand the response was, wait, what? Let's hear your thoughts on this. What was your immediate response when you heard what Mr. Watson had to say with regard to not hearing the voices of the women on this issue?
If I may, good afternoon, Bahamas. After hearing Mr. Watson's comment, I think you've been very kind in saying what you said, Michelle. I was like, what the?
We can't.
Leave that. Yeah. But agreeing with Shelley, there have been many symposiums. There have been conclaves. I myself is a very avid writer. I write many letters in regards to this topic. I also has held with Cindy and a few other ladies from Bermuda, I have held a live stream about marital rape. There have been many demonstration protests. I mean, I don't know how louder can we get. We are lioness, so if they want us to roar louder, then we can do that. If they want us to go to the highest hill in Cat Island, we can do that. However, I think it is all a smokescreen from the deeper issue of addressing the elephant in the room. There have been many women advocates, even men are in support of it. However, I think the problem is, Michelle, is that we lack education on what the bill entails. And to be fair, I think a lot of people are getting a little mixed up or hearing mixed messages, or probably have their biases in regards to what marital rape is all about. Mm-hmm. So Bahamas, persons who are watching and listening, let's remove marital or spousal from the front of it. Rape is rape. Rape is not love. Rape is not of God. And rape is a crime. So I'll turn it over to the next advocate. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Well, I agree wholeheartedly. When I saw and heard the remarks by Clint Watson, I was personally offended. And I was offended for every women's group in this country. Clint Watson is a veteran journalist and a good one, a very well respected journalist in this country. So I highly doubt that it was a lack of information on the part of Clint Watson, him making that statement. And what that statement did is it undercut years of work and years of advocacy and years of agitation to get the law changed that women have been pounding the pavement for years. Myself, several other individual advocates, the 242 Domestic Violence Support Network, Women's United, FOAM, I mean, Human Rights Bahamas, the list goes on and on and on. And so I personally am of the opinion that this is a stalling tactic on the part of the Davis administration. Why the stalling? I'm not too sure. But nevertheless, let's just be clear. The statement that Clint Watson made was immensely incorrect. And we will continue to make our voices heard because this law definitely needs to be amended. Right now in this country, rape is defined as it relates to the marital issue as happening between two people who are unmarried. So spouses have no protection under the law. And I think what we need to ask ourselves is, what sort of country do we want to be? Do we want to be the sort of country that says that there are certain forms of rape that are okay? Do we really want to present ourselves this way? Because that is what we have been doing thus far. And it needs to change. Too many lives are being wrecked in this country as a result of this issue, and it needs to stop. And we won't stop until it's changed.
Let's hear from the other two ladies before I jump in, talking about the study that was done by UB. But let's hear from the other two ladies on the panel.
Good afternoon, everyone. When we think about women's rights and when we think about children's rights, I think when we look at Mr. Clint Watson, can everybody hear me, first of all?
I can hear you perfectly.
Because I'm having some issues. When we think about Mr. Clint Watson, he is asking for women to use their voice. He can't hear us. Where has he been? I mean, we've been shouting from the mountaintop. We've been having countless press conferences, writing countless articles. We've been working in the field in the background. Where has he been? Where else he wants to see us? And I think for me, what really irate me and my group is this notion here. Where are you? We can't hear you. We can't see you. When you're having symposiums, you know, I wrote an article a few weeks ago, and they were saying that they were involving all of the stakeholders. I sat at the table and I looked around, and I'm looking at politicians, I'm looking at ministers, I'm looking at doctors, lawyers, I'm looking at so many stakeholders. I did not see representations for the victims. I did not see enough representation for the women's group that are in the field that are doing the work. So, and I did not see Clint Watson. So it was very disheartening to have a male stand in front of the public in front of the Bahamas to say, where are you? My question to him is, where have you been? We need, the amendment is in place. It's time to pass the bill. Women need the protection, wives need the protection. So when Clint Watson stood up and said, we need to hear from you, we're here to say, are we loud enough now? Can you hear us now? Because we are ready to roar. That's my sense.
All right, Hadassah. Hadassah, I think you're muted. You need to unmute your microphone.
Hi. Hi.
There
Can
you
you
go.
hear me?
We can hear you now.
Hi. Shalom. Yes, my immediate, good afternoon. My immediate response when I heard Clint Watson's comment was that he was being very insulting and disrespectful to all of the female advocates. And I posted to Facebook that if Mr. Watson and the government really wanted to hear from the female women's advocates, they had their last symposium. They would invite the female advocates, many pastors who have no problem raping their wives, but just don't want to be called out on it. So that was my immediate response. I think it's disrespectful that we are still having this conversation saying that the Damien Turtle being crawfish action in this tree than the woman.
We're having issues.
And what if
it sounds like you're in the matrix, Hadassah. You're in and out.
The
So I don't know if you want to sign out and sign back in to see if you can get stronger internet speed. But right now you're in and out of the matrix. So it's hard to understand what you're saying exactly. I just want to say this, and I agree with whoever it was on the panel who said that we need more education on this matter, because I remember watching one of the news reports when they were interviewing various pastors on the matter. And one of the pastors got up and said, well, you know, I have a problem with this because this is from the devil, and he's trying to destroy the family, and he's trying to destroy marriages, because if I lay down in my bed in the night and I reach over and I touch my wife, then they can say I raped my wife. And I thought, is that a call for the show? Okay. I thought to myself, sir, do you understand that by making such a statement, you are trivializing rape? Because no one would call touching someone else rape in any circumstance, anywhere in the world. So why are you trivializing rape by saying, if I reach over in my bed and touch my wife, they can accuse me of rape? This, I believe, is why we have such a strong rape culture in this country. Because people trivialize this to make it seem like, oh, that's no big deal. And I just wonder sometimes if people listen to the words that come out of their mouth. Like, do you measure this in your head before you let it come out your mouth? Because that kind of statement gives license to a rapist. We have a call on the show. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good day and God bless you, Michelle. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, JT?
Pretty good, and good afternoon to all of your guests. One of the, well, you know, some weeks ago, Michelle, you did play a number of clips on this issue. And you might remember I would have called back a second time on your show that day because I was flabbergasted when I hear one of the male responders, who I believe you indicated was a pastor, said that women had no right to respond or to complain or words to that effect. You remember that clip?
I do.
And see, and I'm a male, obviously, and I'm not married and never have been, so let me make that very clear. But the one thing I know between this thing called the ability to think and to reason, If rape is a violation, forcing oneself violently on somebody else, then to me, within marriage, if a man forces himself on his wife or a woman forces herself on her husband, that's rape. I am one of those men who clearly and 100% support the idea and the ideal that a man, unfortunately, can rape his wife. Obviously, women are guilty of that too in some instances, but predominantly men are the ones who are apparently guilty of it. Now, what I'm curious about in regards to your guest today, Michelle, in respect to the amount of advocacy groups out there, women's advocacy groups, how many are there, would you say? Anybody can answer that for me?
I have no idea. Many.
Yeah.
There are many.
Okay, understood and accepted. See, the reason I ask that question is it is a syndrome that I notice with governments, generally speaking, or particularly this one. They seem, when they're coming up with these issues and they're talking about public-private partnerships on issues like these, they really don't seem to want to engage in these public debates, those advocates. Because on the environmental issues, the environmentalists were complaining that the government has not been engaging them. Now, on this issue, you women advocates are making the same complaint, and I don't know what more you can do to be more louder and to make more noise for the government to hear you. But I suggest, with all due respect, ladies, if there's something else that you can find to do to get the government's attention, then go ahead and do it. They want you to make noise, so make more noise above and beyond that which you have already done. But I just wanted to call in and say, and I wish Critical Thinker can call in today, because he did share with you, Michelle, an existing law. A law that's already on the books that provides protection for women, or an avenue for a woman to deal with rape, or a spouse to deal with rape in marriage as it now is. So I would like to hear that being talked about again today as well in the context of your show. But I just wanted to call in as a male and let you females know out there that there are truly men out there who understand the fact that you women do have moral rights. Not just because you're a female, not just because you are married to a man means that your morality or your worth is taken away, minimized. And when I hear my fellow men talk like that, it really disturbs me. It honest to God disturbs me. Thank you for your time, Michelle.
All right. Thanks for calling, JT. We have another call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Madam Michelle, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay, and good afternoon to your guest.
Good
I
afternoon.
am surprised that he never been married.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was a family man. Well, anyway, I am a family man, and I believe in the family. But, Madam Michelle, I have two beautiful daughters. I often tell the story. I love them dearly. And anyone decide, believe that they can mess with my two girls, I will become Vladimir Putin, and the rest will be history. But my two girls are doing good. I am confused in terms of this particular issue, and I'll be calm, cool, and collective to tell me the reason why I am confused. That the Prime Minister already made a statement on this particular matter, that this particular issue is not on his mandate at this time. That is clear. I have a little problem with this group. I call it a liberal-minded group fighting for their rights. But with the intelligence that they have, it's very disrespectful to bully the Prime Minister into their agenda. Protocol must be established. You cannot bully the Prime Minister and set the stage for your personal agenda when the Prime Minister is first among equal. I see that as total disrespect because he made it clear. He made it clear.
So, caller, let
me finish. I am not finished.
Okay.
I am concerned they did not bully the former Prime Minister, Mr. Hubert Minnis. This was not an issue with Mr. Hubert Minnis, and I am curious. I'm a family man, 5 beautiful grand. I am curious as to where this bully spirit is trying to bully. It appeared to me that they are testing this man.
Can I ask you a question, Colin? Because I think you've made your point.
Because it's serious. When we talking about a group of an intelligent group of women, it's clear. He made it clear.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. You've made your point.
Go ahead.
My question to you is this. You are claiming that these women are bullying the Prime Minister into
Yes,
trying
they
to
are.
do. Let me finish my question, please.
Go ahead. Now, I mean, you don't have to bully me now. I listen.
Then do that.
Okay.
You are claiming that these women are trying to bully the Prime Minister into doing what they want him to do when he's already made it clear that this is not on his agenda.
Right.
Well, maybe he should have communicated that to his press secretary before his press secretary gets up and invites these women to make their voices heard on the matter. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Okay, can I respond?
Go right ahead.
I am responding to first among equal, and I read it in the paper. And every time the Prime Minister step out on an agenda, the mic is being put in his face about this particular issue. That is disrespectful. It's like a force. It is disrespectful. The Prime Minister cannot function daily on one agenda without the mic being put in his face, bringing up this particular issue. That is total disrespect. If I'm gonna call this show daily, Madam Michelle,
But Carly, you ain't answer my question, though.
you have an open line show on Friday.
But you ain't answer my question, though.
No, I see it as total disrespect.
But you
from
still
the
ain't answer
report.
my question, though.
Yes, I am answering your question. The Prime Minister made it clear that this is not on his agenda.
So then why is his press secretary making it an agenda item?
I
Why?
cannot speak for Mr. Watson. I am speaking on what I'm hearing, what I'm listening to, and what I'm reading. I think it's disrespectful for this group to force and bully the Prime Minister.
Caller, with all due
I
respect.
can hang up. I have a problem
you
with
know
that.
me and you just get into it, right?
Yeah, you is my friend and I love you like a sister, but you cannot bully the Prime Minister mandate.
Well, then the Prime Minister needs to communicate that to his press secretary.
But Michelle, I would love the opportunity to respond.
So would I, Nayoka. I will respond after you.
I wanna respond first to the first caller who alluded to that there was some form of protection for a spouse. And I just want to make it clear that currently the bill says the amended bill is going to remove the words not who is not his spouse. Currently the bill says rape is the act of any person not under 14 of years of age having sexual intercourse with another person who is not his spouse. That is what the bill is currently. The amended bill will remove the words who is not his spouse, meaning that every female, every male, everyone that is being forced into sexual intercourse without consent that person would have committed a criminal act against that person. The present bill in place now says that any person who has sexual intercourse with his spouse without consent, listen to this, it will be considered a crime of sexual assault. That is the current bill. Now, caller, I don't know if you call that protection. If I'm being raped, you're now classifying it as sexual assault because I'm a spouse. So I just wanted to clarify that mention. I don't call that protection in my book. To the second caller, the women's group was called out. We were told to come forward. We were told to speak up. We can't hear you. That is why we are here today. That is why we've been here from days and weeks and years before. We're not bullying the Prime Minister. The bill has been amended. We're just asking now to put the pedal to the metal, if you would say, and pass the bill. We don't need another election, another term, another election, so forth and so forth, and the bill is just sitting there. We need to see the fulfillment of the bill. I don't want to go into assumption to see why you're so irate with women, especially a father with 2 daughters, with women standing up for their rights and staying present and forceful to the government, trying to hold them accountable to their word that they have a right to protect us. Why are we being called bullies? Where are you when women are being raped and there's no protection? Wives or houses, spouses are being told that you weren't raped, you were just sexually assaulted based on the current law of the land. You have 2 daughters. 2 daughters. I don't know their age.
We have a couple
but let's fight for the rights of all human beings. That's my take.
We have a couple of callers on the line. Cindy, I'll let you speak after these callers, okay? Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hello.
Hi, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, Michelle, and good afternoon to you guys. You know, Clint, actually, I watched that press conference, and when Devontae, Hannah asked him this question, and Clint literally poked the bear. Okay? I thought there was progress being made. We heard, we listened, because many times on your show, we discussed the marital bill issue, and it was on for a lot. It was to the top of the discussion, right? In recent times, this is the most I've heard on this issue in years, and we've seen the thing that they had at the hotel that they had, right, with different groups and organizations, the pastors. Mm-hmm. Everyone speaking and speaking on this issue.
Right.
So for that, when that question was posed, because I normally would stream and post and comment, and I said to him, I said, no, the groups have been you're wrong, Clint. The groups have been very vocal. So for Clint to have said what he said, I don't know why he said what he said, but Clint needs to step forward and address and deal with this issue, because he was the one that pointed the fingers at the women's groups, and said that you all are sitting down, it's like as if you have your mouth zipped shut, and you are not agitating. It's not just about the women's group stepping up. Yes, you all have done an awesome job in bringing this to the forefront, and it's not a fact of poking or attacking the Prime Minister or the leader or whatever, the government. These are the people who said that they are going to represent. They want us to give them our support, for them to be in the places. They are the ones who goes to Parliament. They're the ones who present these bills, right? They're the ones who vote on these things. We can't go in there and do it. And there has been a lot, because in recent times we've been hearing a lot of persons who are in distress, women who are in distress, abused women, and across the 9 yards, right? You had the police officer, the lady who was in charge of the female officer. I'm sure you will have a name, who did a press conference that they had at the hotel as well. She gave the statistics, right, with the abuse in this that is happening in this country. So this is not a closing. Work is being done, right? But I think Clint has to deal with this thing, and I think Clint Watson, and I think I'm happy that the women's group. I knew it was only a matter of time doing the countdown before you all stepped up, because if he asked for this on this issue, Clint is wrong. He is wrong. He is out of order, and I think he owes the women's groups, the organizations who have been advocating, who have been standing out, who have been protesting. He owes them an apology, because a lot of times women who are the victims, they are afraid to come and be vocal and speak out in fear of going back home. You understand? And facing the abuse or whatever. So you all are the voice of the voiceless. You understand? And for that, I am grateful. So as far as Clint Watson is concerned, he needs to step it up, and he owes the women, those hard struck, you ladies, he owes the country an apology, because he was wrong with what he said. He is wrong. You do not put the onus on the women's groups or whatever. You're not loud enough. When you scream to the top of your voice, you lose your voice. You're not loud enough. What does he want people to do? To crawl? And I think Clint Watson needs to address this issue. Thank you. And you all continue with the fight, okay?
Thank you for calling. We have another call on the line, right? Ladies, it's a hot topic today, so expect a lot of calls. Welcome to GPS. Caller. Hello, caller. You still there?
Good afternoon, Ms. Malcolm.
Hi.
Good afternoon to the ladies. I didn't get the names, but I have 3 quick questions. I can hang up and listen. To the people out there who's saying, ladies, I don't know if any of y'all is a lawyer. You don't have to be a lawyer to answer this question. They're saying that the question is, do you think the government should just amend the laws, like how you read just now, how what it is now, how you're trying to get it, that move the spouse, and if anyone don't give consent, you think we should just amend it, or you should bring it to the people, since we have so much women allegedly being claimed to be raped by their husband and stuff like that? Should we bring it to a referendum? Secondly, Mom, if women is going through this, and tell the law be amended, since women, they ain't going through this and they going through this, would you guys, would you ladies suggest to them to just simply get a divorce? And for the people like my good friend Rodney Moncomb, ladies, he's saying that, for instance, Ms. Malcolm, I know you might disagree. I'm not sure if you disagree with this, but I want the ladies maybe to answer it if it's possible. He's saying that if you guys ain't married, you shouldn't be talking about husband and wife business. And he's saying that law is already there if somebody rapes someone. What you think about what people like Rodney Moncomb saying, that especially unmarried people, most of you guys, I think he's saying that most of you guys who pushing for it, the ladies who Clint Watson was talking about, are not married or don't have any children. I'll hang up and listen. I don't know if it's relevant, but I'll hang up and listen. Y'all keep up the good work.
All right. Now, ladies, when you answer, keep it brief, because we have a cell phone caller waiting, okay? Cindy, I know you wanted to say something. Siobhan, I see you raising your finger. Keep in mind that we have you might want to tell that cell phone caller to call back. Go ahead, ladies. Cindy, let's start with you.
I just wanted to briefly say a few things. Rape is not a political issue. Rape is a human issue. And advocacy groups have been agitating for the change in law well before Prime Minister Davis took the oath of office. Also, the fact that Clint Watson made that statement is a secondary issue. There's a deeper issue in this country as to why those of us who are advocates have had to fight so hard and so long for this bill to be passed and the law to be changed in the first place. We have a pervasive rape culture in this country, which is the reason why spouses have not had the protection under the law that they should have had from the very beginning. And I think that's the main thing that we really need to be focusing on. Clint Watson's statement, while wrong and insulting, is just a drop in the bucket, in my opinion.
Okay. Siobhan?
Thank you. To answer the last caller's question, there are a few of us, including myself, who are married on this panel list today. And so just to answer your questions, and while we do have women advocates against, I would say, for marital rape bill, there are those who are against it. So it goes back to what I said initially. We need education on this topic. The U.S., all 50 states, they are still struggling to kind of have a collective law in regards to their marital rape laws in the U.S. So us just getting into it, we really need to have, first of all, we need to be invited at the table. And we need to have a very mature discussion about this with the Christian Council, with the Women Advocates Group, with the men who support. And men, please, if you're out there and you support us, then stand with us. And women, if you're listening, please come and join with us. Join in the fight. Advocates can only do so much, but we need more of you on board that are willing to stand with us and be bold. But to answer before I conclude, yes, I think there needs to be a much wider debate and discussion on this. And getting back to what I said initially, rape is rape. I want us to sensitize ourselves to Bahamas and take away the marital and the spousal aspect of it. Rape is a crime. Folks, rape is criminal act.
Okay. The telephone number is called 3260271, 3260271, 3260271, or 3260272, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line is 8010271, 8010271. We have another call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hello, Michelle.
Hi.
Good day and good day to you, guest. I figure I will get cut off because I was on hold too long. But my first kind of statement or question is, right? Hello?
You were listening.
Yes. How many things can a woman go to court for divorce for a man? Like, for instance, there's a such thing as emotional abuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Verbal abuse, mental abuse, and financial abuse, right?
We're listening.
Yes, I mean, I'm asking, are all those laws in place to protect a woman?
I don't know that there is a law in place to protect a woman from financial abuse or emotional abuse.
Yes, you can file for divorce because of financial abuse too.
Okay.
Meaning a man withholding his, I mean, of course you know what that means, but withholding his funds from his spouse for certain purposes or reasons, just like sex being hold.
Yeah,
of a man.
I agree that you can take that to court if you're getting a divorce, but I don't think it's a law. But go ahead,
No,
make your point.
yeah. So my point is, I've been reading so long, I kind of will be lost for words.
Mhm.
But like I say, and I do agree with a lot of the sentiments of plenty men out there. If you married an animal or you marry a person who may be an animal, why get married to that person in the first place? If he would do such a thing to you.
Well, you
Now, I
know,
agree
let me just say this, caller, with regard to that. When you're dating, you to show your best self. So just because he didn't show that side of him when you were dating and courting, doesn't mean it won't come out after you get married. So I don't think that that's a fair thing to say.
Okay, so why would you want a criminal charge? I mean, even if you get a criminal charge, shouldn't that be mandatory with divorce? Even if it's not jail time, even if it's just a financial like payback or something like that. But truth is, and my point being, and you may disagree, and of course your guests will disagree, but this is a plan of the devil getting into this family and breaking up the homes more than the homes are already broken up already. And it's a Jezebel spirit, and it's a evil, wicked spirit, because if you're in a relationship, why should anything be withheld from one another? And why take a vow, say, when you all two become one, and then you try to say otherwise? And everything that this earth and the planet and the system is doing right now is going against everything that the Bible says, which is the biblical information before leaving the earth. They say, don't beat the children, that's abuse. But the Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child. They say, the Bible, if God say a man and woman become one, now y'all saying y'all want divorce. Like, Like what? And then you're wondering why so much violence, why so much killing, why so much evil, why so much wickedness in this world.
Carla,
Like,
let me ask you a question.
Yes,
What does the
ma'am.
Bible say with regard to the way that a husband should treat his wife?
I mean, I could sum it up in how I think I perceive it.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like yourself, and like the church, like how we love the church, and that means good in every which way.
So
you understand?
Agreed. So how is forcing yourself on a woman?
That's
treating
what I'm
her with
saying.
love?
That's an animal to force yourself on a woman if she's married to you, if she isn't married to you. It's criminal. It's an offense. But why be with somebody like that? And how could you get yourself in that position? So better yet, maybe ladies should make better decisions or are making poor decisions. Because I don't think this law it never has been necessary. Why all of a sudden it's such a big agenda now? Now that the LGBTQ, like nobody comes on the radio and say, "Oh, I straight, I wanted this or I wanted that." Every time a LGBT or whatever those people name, they come on. Oh, I'm gay. I need these special rights. I need this. I need that. The truth is, this whole world, men came here to prepare this world for women. Then women, by the time women reach here, this world was already created. They said, y'all came to be our companion and our helpmate. You understand what I'm saying? And the truth is, in the system right now, you can see it. Everything reflects it. The world it builds and revolves around women. And I blame Brave Davis because everybody is targeting him on every issue and coming at him so aggressively, like the other caller said. Besides that, I blame men for not believing in themselves enough to know the importance of themselves and who they are as being a godly creature on this land, and knowing how important they are in order to be able to treat a woman how important she is, instead of these women feeling like the body is only one part of a relationship, the physical. You understand what I'm saying? And I, like I said, I blame men for feeling like without sex, the world will come to an end. Because the truth is, it ain't that serious. Because if a woman don't want to be with me, I just go in to be with the next woman. I ain't going to rape her. She ain't the only woman on earth.
All right. Thank you so much for calling and expressing your opinion. One of our panelists wants to jump in and respond. And then we have to take, do we have any callers waiting? Okay, great. Because after this, we have to take a break. We were supposed to take one at 2:30, now 3 o'clock. All right. Go ahead, Nyoka.
So many to swallow. I wanted to ask him, and call if you're still listening. Are you of the opinion that men do not force themselves on women, or husbands do not force themselves on wives? If you can type back and just answer that, so I can get context as to where your thinking is coming from. I think as we dive into this topic, we have to remember that rape exists whether you're married, whether you're single, whether you're engaged, whether you're on a play date, however you want to call the other person. Rape is rape. Simply because if I'm not giving you consent to touch my body, which is my human right, if I'm telling you no, you are to stop. And not because I walk down the aisle, and this is a married woman speaking, gives you the authority and 100% control all the time to just take it. There are circumstances as to why people do what they do. He started to say he can't see why a woman should be with a man if they're that way. As Michelle pointed out, nobody shows their bad card or their bad hand first. People change. People develop habits that cause them to change, that cause them to think and act differently. The point is, as a people, we all deserve protection from anyone that is trying to violate our bodies. And it should not be any stipulation against, well, she's married, so that doesn't count. There are women in 2022 in the Bahamas married that are being raped. And we need the Bahamian people to understand that it is happening. Thank you.
The caller is called back to respond to you, Mayoga. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, ma'am. What was your first question? Do I think rape exists in the Bahamas? Do I think men actually
No. On women and married women, do you think husbands can force themselves on wives?
Okay. First, I will answer that. Of course, I do. Now, before you start again, I would like to ask you, what did I say to make you think that I didn't think that? Because I specifically expressed that, yes, that stuff does happen, and I think that a man that forces himself on any woman is an animal.
I asked that because you then turn around and said, why would a woman want to be with a man that does that? As if anyone is walking around and saying, I'm a rapist, I forced myself, come and date me. That's not the picture that is painted. So when you say here, well, why would women do that? As you're almost acting as if it's their fault if they do get raped, or if it's their fault if a man decides to turn into that type of animal.
Okay, well, like my mother, my grandmother, and plenty adults that brought me up always told me, and this always stick with me, say, once is shame on me, and twice is shame on you, or backwards. First time is shame on.
I get what you're saying, but currently, caller, there's no protection for a wife, whether she's raped the first time, the second time, or the third time. If let's just say, go ahead.
No, I want to respond to what you say. There's no protection for a wife, but I think the reason be it, and why it's not in the Constitution, why it's not exactly written out in the Bible either, because God made man to protect his woman, his spouse.
Are you in agreement that there are circumstances, there are men who do not follow biblically everything in the Bible?
Not everybody follows the Bible.
Okay.
So are you at least open to that notion that there are some men who believe, one, don't believe the Bible, two, if you're my wife, you have a right to give it to me at any point in time, regardless of the circumstances, I tired, I sick, whatever explanation there may be. There are some men that feel they have the authority over your body. They have that right to your body, and you don't have a right to say no. Do you believe if a wife says no and a husband takes it, injures her, abuses her, assaults her, just forcefully, just violently attack her, if she goes currently in the law, if she goes to the police station to make a report, they will not put the word rape because they don't consider it as rape. And that is the issue, because that's what it is.
Okay, let me ask you a question with a question. Why is it so important for that word rape to be there?
Because protection is important for all.
If all the justices are served in that case, why is it so important?
Because there's different penalties based on the crime committed. There's penalties that goes with the crime committed. And if the crime committed is not selected or labeled properly, okay, you have murder one, man two, first degree murder, second degree murder. Both of those carry two different penalties. Rape carries a penalty. Sexual assault carries a penalty. So if someone rapes you You get a certain amount of time. If someone sexually assaults you, you get a certain amount of time. The issue is only spouses, whether you're male or female, because it can happen to both, you only fall in the category of sexual assault. And this don't even have to be when you're with your spouse. You could have been separated, you're no longer with him, and because he hasn't gotten the picture, he or she, they decide to just come back and attack you. But when I go to the police station, they're not calling it rape. They're not calling it what it is. And that is why we are fighting so hard for it to be called that, because that's what it is. We need the protection. That's like saying if you have a daughter, she can never say, Daddy, my husband raped me. He only sexually assaulted you. Why? Because you're married? Let's think about it. And this is what the public needs to do. Begin to think about all of the ramifications. Don't wait until it hit our doorsteps to say, I see the difference. So y'all saying he didn't rape her because they married. You know, it only becomes crap to y'all when it hits your doorstep. And that's the culture we have. And that's why women are fighting hard. We don't want to force anyone's hand. We don't want to bully. We want to be heard. And we want actions to be taken so we are protected, caller.
Okay. So can I ask you this?
And
Yes.
ask real quick because we got to take a break here. Go ahead. Ask the question.
In the case of sexual assault, when concerning our wife and husband, what do you think the penalty should be?
Well, currently in the law, if you are guilty of a sexual assault by your spouse,
yes, ma'am,
you are liable to a term of 15 years. That's the law.
Sexual assault.
Sexual assault. You are liable up to 15 years.
Wow.
And it will never be listed on the books as rape. That person will never be convicted as rape.
Okay, and no divorce required, nothing. You just have
Well, I'm not at that level to speak to that. I'm only going to speak to what currently it says. So I'm not certain if you get an automatic divorce. I don't know. But right now, if a husband was to go and report a rape, it will be categorized as sexual assault.
Okay.
And that is where law being formed.
I have to end this back and forth because we have another caller who's been waiting for a while. Okay.
Just one question. I could hang up after the question.
Go ahead,
and
quickly.
I would like the lady to elaborate maybe when I hang up on what would she like the law to be if it's passed or when it's passed. If a husband is charged for raping his woman, is she insisting the death penalty or capital punishment? What would she like to see happen? That's what I want to know from these ladies representing.
Okay, let's let them answer
Obama.
because we have another caller that's been waiting for a while. Thank you so much for calling. Ladies, a quick answer, please.
Rape is rape, regardless who it's committed by or committed on. Rape is rape.
But what penalty would you suggest he's asking?
If I can speak real quick, I see Adassa would like to speak as well. I would say probably life sentence, maybe. Maybe that's a bit harsh, but life sentence.
Yeah, people can look at you with a side eye with that one, Siobhan.
A minimum of 20 years. A minimum of 20 years.
Right on there and get life. Hadassah, make it quick, please, because we got another caller. And I take my first break yet, and it's 3:11, and my sponsors is paid to keep this show on the air. So I can't.
Go ahead, I can answer when you come back. I can answer when
All
you
right,
come
but we
back.
have another caller, though. So, caller, welcome to the show.
Michelle.
Yes.
Sorry, Miss Malcolm.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted, that's Naoki, Miss Naoka. I wanted to ask you, Mom, you say we want protection. I have a solution, Mom. The protection is the divorce. Now, I was a little lost. I was saying maybe divorce ain't good enough. And then you explain that they're getting 15 years already, but the rape ain't getting on their record. Then I say, well, you're still getting punished, but it sounds like it's really personal. I mean, I know only who feels it knows it, to be raped by somebody, male or female. Now, when they ask you just now how much years you think it should be, when you say lifetime, or 25 years or 20 years. It sounds like it's personal. It really is a hateful vibe. It's the remorse. It's like you're holding in. It's like the husband or whatever, different from that sexual thing with raping and stuff like that. I think you need to start off by getting to the police, like you say, make a report, then find yourself a good lawyer and move on with your life. Because to tell you the truth, it really sounds like a disrespect to marriage. All right, God put it here. It could be here when me and you leave. So I think until the law passed, go to the police, make the report, find a good lawyer. The solution, the protection you asking for is divorce, man. But it sounds like it's personal, say lifetime. You serious? People even ain't get into jail for lifetime for killing people like Miss Malcolm said.
It wasn't Nayoka that said that, by the way, caller. It was somebody else.
I hear you say it. It sounds like they hating, but they hate man.
If I can answer, I am married of 20 plus years, and no, I'm not hating. I have 7 good, decent brothers. And my thing is, rape is rape. Now, it may seem harsh, but the rapist should think before he rapes. That's my position. And it's not personal, darling.
Okay. In the name of Jesus, we got to take a break. So let us take this break. Caller, you got to call back, man, because I can't diss my sponsors. It's 3:13. My first break was supposed to be at 2:30. My second break was supposed to be at 3 o'clock. So we are well behind. I knew that this topic would emote a lot of, invite a lot of emotions. So I'm not surprised, but I cannot disrespect my sponsors because they keeping the show on the air. So let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue with this conversation about the invitation for women's groups to make their voices heard. And they like, where you all been? We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
Welcome back to GPS. Is my microphone open? Yeah. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I can't hear myself. I'm Michelle Malcolm. My guests today are Siobhan Hollis, Hadassah Johnson, Nyoka Johnson, and Cindy Gadet. And we are discussing this whole question of marital rape after the press secretary, Clint Watson. You need to close the door. I'm hearing Clint Watson said they have not heard the voices of the women's advocacy groups and would like them to come forward. Well, careful what you ask for, because you just may get it, because these ladies have said, okay, our voices need to be heard even louder on this matter. The telephone numbers to call, 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for text messages only, 8010271, 8010271. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Madam Michelle.
Yes, sir.
I am so happy that I listened to your show today. Papa, to all the alpha male man out there, the evidence is clear. This liberated force wants us life in prison. Let's spread the message. They want to emasculate us and put us in prison for life. It was said on the show, life, Papa. Let's gather our troops. God bless you.
Okay, thank you for calling. Hadassah, I know you've wanted to say something for quite a while.
Yeah.
Siobhan, you want to open a can of worms talking about life? Jesus, help us today. Go ahead, Hadassah.
Yes, what I wanted to say. Can you hear me? Because I put on the hair plug. Yes, okay, good. Two things I wanted to go back to the gentleman who spoke about bullying the prime minister. And I take issue with that. The mindset that the prime minister, along with all of his members of parliament, were elected as legislators. And their job is to enact law to protect the society, all in society. And so what we as women are asking for is a right, and it's their job to do. And for the prime minister to say it is not, if he said it, it's not on his agenda, my question to him would be, why not? This is not a new issue. Why we have to keep coming back here and asking over and over again for the protection that is rightfully due to us as women, married women. And it says to me there's no value. And like my sister was saying for years, everything and everyone else in this country have protection except married women. Secondly, these men who are taking issue with the word rape, rape is describing an action. I think you would take issue with the action. You understand me? You don't like the word, change your actions. That's it. Rape is the same, like Siobhan keeps saying, rape is rape, whether you're in marriage or out of marriage. It is the action. But many people are saying, oh, don't call it rape, don't call it rape. Oh, you're changing the sanctity of marriage. Your action is what is destroying your marriage, not the word. Word is just given.
We have a cell phone call on the line. Let's go to the cell phone call. And just for the record, and I'm going to take this show in a direction that nobody, I think, is expecting, but I gonna open up another can of worms in a minute. I just want to get through all the calls, make sure everybody got their say, and then I can throw one monkey wrench in this discussion. But go ahead, caller. Welcome to GPS.
Hi, this is a very provocative show today. I wanted to say, just to piggyback off of what others were saying, that I've never heard about marital murder. You know what I mean? Or marital physical abuse. For me, rape is rape. It's under the law, whether you're married or not. So call it what it is. And I'm feeling like a penalty for a serious crime such as rape, whether in or marriage, should be 10 to 15 years. I think it's gone along so long without consequence for it. Men take offense to it, but it shouldn't be allowed. You don't want it to happen to your daughter, so don't do it to your wife, a female, a stranger, whoever it is. Just be fair.
Okay.
And that's my 5 cents.
Thank you, caller.
Michelle.
Line? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Siobhan.
Michelle?
Thank you. That I'm sorry if I can interject to the caller that seems to be so, I guess, impacted by what I said. When I said life, I'm referring to the rapist. Let's not try to pretty up words here. Let's think about the victims. I think in this country too much we try to, so to speak, sugarcoat and pretty up words. Yes, I said what I meant, and it's for the act. I myself have been married. My husband have never raped me. If I can say, Michelle, if I don't want to have sexual intercourse, we have that conversation. So it's not personal. It's never personal. I have brothers. And my thing is, it's the act. I speak on behalf of those women that currently watching or listening to the show that are experiencing that right now and have lost their voice, afraid to speak up. The act. Do not rape a woman. We have women, I have nieces, I have, I have sisters. Do not rape your wives. And people are talking about just get a divorce. Well, we could speak so freely on that, but what about a person in a situation we don't know what they're involved in, or if they're afraid, or if their life have been threatened? So let's target the rapists, the real problem, the real men that are causing this problem. Not every spouse rapes their wives in the Bahamas, so let's not deflect what we are trying to accomplish here today. There are very good men and men who support the bill. However, we need more clarity. We need to have a strong debate, and women needs to be at the table just like men. So don't distort what I'm saying.
In all fairness, though, Siobhan, there are some women who do not agree with this either. We have to be honest now. Not all women agree with this.
That is
Michelle.
That you're taking.
I can say this too. Go ahead, Cindy.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I cut you off, Nayoka. I apologize. I've been reading a few of the comments, and based on a lot of the written comments and comments made by callers, a lot of religious talk is being made in relation to this law. Here's the problem with that. The Bahamas is not a theocracy. And if you want to live your life based on the Bible and you want your marriage to be governed by biblical principles, fine, do that. You certainly have the right to do that. I support that, and you're right to do that 1000%. What you do not have the right to do, though, is to then say that the laws that govern our country and that we should all follow should be written based on a book that you follow. Because essentially what you're saying is, if I believe, or if I don't believe, I'm sorry, that marital rape is real because of the Bible and how I interpret it, I cannot even begin to say the level of arrogance and divisiveness that is wrapped up in that argument. Because what you're saying is everyone else in the country who doesn't follow the book you follow is not entitled to be protected under the law. It doesn't work that way. Religion should not at all influence this law at all.
I'm going to be, let me just say this with regard to what you just said, Cindy, and then we have a cell phone call on the line. I hear what you're saying, and a lot of people argue about the separation between church and state. But if you look at the law as it exists today, and I'm not talking specific to rape, but if you look at thou shalt not kill, or thou shalt not commit murder, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not, many of the laws on our books are based on that book that you're talking about, just to be fair. But I understand the point that you're making about we're not in a what you call a theocracy. But just to say, don't dismiss the Bible as, oh, that's just a book, because many of the existing laws today are based on what is in that book. All right. We Jesus Lord, how I can do this. We have a cell phone call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Man, good day, Lady Malcolm and you guys.
Hi.
The show's so good, man. I even read till I almost but see, if we gonna tackle something, Lady Malcolm and your guests, the first thing we have to do is we have to be honest and we have to be real about it. We got to tackle it from where it begins and where it ends. Because I hear a lot of your guests saying, oh, strip away the marriage and strip away this because rape is rape. Okay, don't worry about the Bible because rape is rape. And they trying to strip away all this other stuff, but they want to maintain this way. Because rape is rape. We understand that. But let's go back to the beginning. When those two couples sit before our Reverend, whether that's a good relationship or not, they decide we going into this and we can sign a contract. Okay? You know the power of a contract? That's the first thing we got to deal with when we want to try to change this word into rape. Those couples sign a contract before God and man if you believe in one.
What that contract say?
The contract says for better or worse, in riches and falls, in health and all that good stuff.
Does the
and all of that.
Does the contract also say that they have authority over each other's body?
Well, it don't. I wouldn't go as far as to say they have authority over each other's body.
But that's what the Bible says. That's what the Bible says. That's what the Bible says. But that's what the Bible says.
To me, the contract is a partnership. It's like a consort type of thing. I deal with her, she deals with me. When it gets to the point which your panelists are talking about, that relationship is over. And like some of the callers say, maybe what your panelists need to do is form some type of women's group to consult and get to these women before it gets overboard. Because you name me one relationship, whether it is in marriage or not, that don't experience the kind of things your panel is talking about.
Well, you know,
as a matter,
Caller, did you see the statistics that have been released by the University of the Bahamas as to the numbers that are being reported in this country of married women saying that they've been raped?
No, I haven't seen it. I've been asking for it for a while, but nope, I've never.
Just to bring you up to speed, over 4,000 women in this country have reported that they were raped at least once by their husbands. 4,000 women. And let me just say that if 4,000 are reporting it, the real number is probably 12,000 because many aren't going to report that.
Yeah, but we ain't a hypothetical. We going on what you got in front of you. Because in the court of law, you can't go in court and say, I think. We got to go with what we got before.
This is a study that was done by the University of the Bahamas. What you mean? What I think?
That's a high number. 4,000 is really a high number.
What it is.
But what your panelists them need to do is learn to educate to these females. And ain't only that, you know what's so disingenuous about this argument? This entire argument. It ain't supposed to be no rape for no woman and rape. It's supposed to be the spouses. Because the only thing I am hearing from anybody is the woman, the man raping the woman, the man doing this, the man doing that. That's a disingenuous argument.
Okay. Thank you, caller. You lead me into where I wanted to carry this. And I was gonna wait till the last
So what
segment.
about the caller educating the males on how to treat their wives and to respect their wives, that if their wives doesn't want to? That is what I want these men to focus on. We need more men to encourage men on how to treat their wives. Then your wife won't have to say you're raping her.
Right. When we have these discussions, it is never a matter of responsibility on the side of the man. Never, never. It's like, and call, I come at you right now. It's like those societies. I mean, there's all this uproar right now in a country in the Middle East because of a woman who lost her life because she showed too much of her hair. She didn't wear the hair covering properly, and so too much of her hair was shown, and so they killed a whole woman because too much of her hair was shown. Because you see, as a man,
No
if I see
value.
her hair, I can get aroused, and so that's her fault. Now, you may say that's an extreme, but that is happening in this world. Where and at what point do men not take responsibility for their actions? Why is it always the fault of the woman? And I'm not talking within marriage now. I'm talking in general. Because one of the things that we love to do in this country is blame the victim. Oh, she shouldn't have been wearing that dress. Oh, she only 12, but she too fast and forward. Oh, where and at what point does the man take responsibility for his actions? And why aren't we hearing more men, as somebody just said, speaking to other men about taking responsibility for your actions? And that question is not limited to within marriage. We got to stop this madness. And this is why we have such a strong rape culture in this country, because it's never the responsibility of a man to be accountable for his actions. It's always the fault of the woman that she has been raped. And, in 2022, quite frankly, I'm tired of it. And those comments I just made are not within context of marriage, but in general, in our society, why we have such a strong rape culture. Because we're looking for reasons to blame the female for being raped. We have a call on. Lord Jesus, help me today.
And that's the problem.
It's a big part of the problem. Men never ask men to be accountable for their behavior. It is always the fault of the woman. And we have to
And they
stop
don't teach. The focus is always on what a woman is supposed to do. No one telling a man what he's supposed to do.
Paula, welcome to GPS.
Malcolm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. This look like we have a marriage problem. But when you look, I heard you all quote something in the scripture, but when you look in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, this problem was going on for real in Corinthians church. That's why Paul had to address this. Man was harassing their wife, and they were doing all sorts of things. And Paul had addressed that church. And that's the reason why marriage is an institute established by God. And Paul had to put this church in line, tell them, no, the way y'all carrying on, y'all cannot do this. And that's why he said, let every man have his own wife and every woman have her own husband. But when we don't follow this constitution under what God have said, and when if a woman or a man walk out of that set up by God, then what happened? We can have a problem. Because when we see that if the Bible said a woman body not belong to her, nor a man body belongs to him. So when we see that these people want to violate the law of God, even though they married, then we can have a problem. Because you're going to find out now, if the woman don't want to give herself over to the man, then we can find out the man is maybe want to hold his wife down or whatever. We got to face it. These things happen. It is real. It happened, but we hate to face it. Now, does it supposed to come like that? No. Because if you in the church and I in the church, and we husband and wife, we should have a neutral understanding and try to follow the guideline of what this word say. It should not come to where I got to strain my wife, hold it down, and stuff like that. And we know these things. I mean, I might can't prove it, but then again, this actually what was happening. So if I would like to see the government pass the law, because even though when you walk out of that marriage, the law is ready to say, okay, now you walk out of this marriage, this law is for you. But the law is not if me and my wife have a good communication and stuff, that is not for me. I don't have to worry about that. That is for who want to do it. So you have to have laws and things. It's not that the government going against the word of God. He only the law saying, if you all do this, this is what's gonna happen. It's just like anything else. The law say the law of God say, thou should not kill. So the government say, all right, if you kill, this what gonna happen to you. And as simple as that. I don't see what the big deal is all about.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for calling.
I think one of the things that the big deal is about is the fact that in this country, specifically because we live in this country, women are seen as the property of their husbands once they become married. They are not seen as human beings with the rights to their own mind and their own thoughts and their own desires and their own decisions. And one of the other problems is that we have to stop looking at marriage as a religious institution. It is not a religious institution. Marriage has been in existence well and long before the establishment of any organized religion. And so when we keep focusing or rather seeing marriage as a religious institution, it takes away from the legality of the argument. And from time immemorial, we have been groomed in this society as women to take on blame when we are abused. Society does not hold men accountable for sexual offenses, rape, domestic violence when it occurs. I agree with you, Michelle, 1000%. The blame is always laid at the feet of the victim. And it's not only men who were guilty of victim blaming, women are very guilty of the same as well. I mean, if you think about it, even as it relates to sexual offenses within families, what are so many young girls told from the time that they are, from the time that they can walk and understand? Don't wear this certain type of clothing around this certain uncle or around your grandfather or whomever, because the belief is we somehow turn men on, and when they respond to that in a way that they shouldn't, it's our fault. It's not their responsibility. And as a society, we have to combat that. We have to at every single turn.
Okay, we have a call on the line. Caller, you need to turn down whatever you're listening to us on because we're getting feedback.
Hello?
Hi, you're on the air.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry for calling again. I promise not to take up your time. But this is the first time I kind of disagree with you, Michelle, in terms of you saying men don't hold men accountable for their actions.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree also when it's said that society doesn't hold men accountable for their actions. I think men are held responsible for everything that goes on in this world. And that was from the beginning of time, from the Garden of Eden to even in the Garden of Eden. But I wanted to say, right, let me just paint a picture for you. If you and your husband, right, or you and your fiance were to enter into church, right, and then there's your dad that walks you to the altar, right, to give you away.
Mm-hmm.
For one, why is that so important in the ceremony? And then when your guest says that marriage is not a religious institutional, however she put it, right? The word marriage is from religion. God married Adam and Eve together. And if the church isn't so important in this whole ceremony, why is it so important to get married? And then besides that, then what contradicts what she says about it not being religious? The Bible, or the book, what she refers to it as, the book says that when 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, he is also there. So in the combining of a couple, God, that's something put together by God. And he also said anything that he puts together, no man put asunder, right? And when she said, and it demoralizes, it makes marriage sound so unattractive. She made me almost think back into the slave days when she think when a woman gets married, a man think that she is his property, right? And that is so contradictual of how a lady actually thinks. Because let's put it like this: you go to a dinner with some friends and you introduce your wife as, yeah, I with this lady. You will have hell on earth, heaven, and wherever else hell could fit. Do you agree or disagree?
Sir, let me just say this. I won't speak to everything you said, but to sum up what you just said, your religious beliefs are your own and you are entitled to that. Your religious beliefs do not and should not make up the laws
Darling, I'm
that
not
govern
talking,
this country.
I'm not this big religious guy. I don't know what picture you trying to paint me up. I'm not that religious at all. But when you to talk about religion, I just want to bring forward one more fact.
Make it quick because I have a cell phone caller that's waiting. I have a cell phone caller that's waiting.
In the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and 4, right? It says a woman's body no longer belongs to her when she becomes married.
The Bible also says that his body doesn't belong to him either.
Exactly.
They have authority over each other.
Exactly.
But you don't hear that in this argument, though.
I'm not promoting rape or anything to that manner. You understand? But you have to be fair about it.
We are not basing the law on the book of Corinthians, sir. That is not what we are doing. That is not what we should do. You hold your beliefs, and that's fine. The law is not going to be written based on the Apostle Paul's letter to the Corinthians, sir. That is my point.
Guys, we have a cell phone caller waiting. I gotta accommodate as many calls as I can, and I still want to make this point I want to make, and we still got 2 commercial breaks to play, and I only got 15 minutes left in this show, so I'm sorry I can't let y'all argue back and forth no further. Okay, caller, thank you so much. Let's go to the cell phone caller. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hey, good. Michelle, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Hey, good, and your guest as well. All right. So I have I've been married for over 20 years. So it's, and I hear this. My challenge with it is, one, I don't trust the statistics. Secondly, I'd like to know what the questions were that were asked. I know that people get really smart with the questions to kind of pull out with the answers that they want, and I don't trust UB as a matter of fact. It's a liberal. A lot of these schools are now being driven by feminist movements, liberal organizations, gay, lesbians, to make us subjugated to what they wish to accomplish. I'd really like to know what those questions are. And then secondly, while I agree that forcing your spouse is a form of rape, to me it does not rise to the level of what we know to be rape, because rape is where there is no consent, in the sense that you have two parties who do not have this expectation, at least one for sure. There is no expectation of a participation, or my body is yours. But when you're married, there is this expectation. So when you put me as a married person, let's suppose I did do that. I haven't done that, not that I could recall. When you put me in the same case with a guy who walks up the street, sees a woman on the side of the street, he has some instinct in him. He has no relation to that woman, but he drives on the side and then you saying me and that guy is the same thing. When that person who in the bedroom who's married to his wife, who's been married for whatever amount of years. So he has this desire, and I mean, I'm not sure what would drive him as a man, but let's suppose he, they started, and she says no, and then he just say, okay, well, I can finish this act, and so he does.
Caller,
and then,
for the
as
record,
we say,
for the record, rape doesn't only occur between strangers. There's a thing called date rape, where
That's
you
right.
meet a person and be dating them, and you decide I don't want to have sex with you, and that person decide I taking this. So this is far
right,
more
but that,
complicated than just that
correct.
simple
But the
thing.
same thing, Michelle, they're not married. They're not in a relationship, and I think the law is going to have a problem. We're going to just have a law in the book that's really dead. It satisfies international organizations, but it's dead and it's useless because you can't prove it. Because if me and my wife have been engaging in sexual relations for years,
it's hard
how are
to
you going to prove?
That's going to be
that,
hard to prove.
How are you going to prove?
Yeah.
It's my word against her.
Yeah.
How are you going to prove that? So we wasting time, we spinning our wheels. Then secondly, these women could have brought on women who are saying, there has to be some outward women who are in marriages now, who are saying, you know what, my husband raped me and I didn't like it and we need this law. I don't believe it. I believe this is made up. I believe this is being pushed by certain individuals. And then the lady, now she might have joked about that, but bro, I have 3 boys. If they make a mistake and do something like that, I want to go into jail for 15 years.
But sir,
over something like that with their wives. I have a problem with that, and I have boys, and I want it. She don't care enough for her husband or her brother to wish that. No way.
Do you have any daughters?
I have one daughter. Listen, let me say, I have one daughter.
Mm-hmm.
If she's married and it happens to her, I can say, listen, you're in marriage now. Now, if he's abusing you, we have a problem. If he is physically, if there's something. But I know something. See, what I think, let me leave with this because I know you have to finish up. What happens, there's a difference between men and women. And I think sometimes women don't appreciate exactly the differences that men. And then being married, I understand this. Women are not as interested in sex as men are. Men are extremely interested. Women are very little interested for the most part. And so what happened is they view it one way, we as men view it another. And I think we really need to have an honest discussion so we can appreciate each other's position. Thank you, and I appreciate the time.
Thanks for calling. Ladies, I see all of your eyebrows raised when he said what he would tell his daughter. But I can't, we got another cell phone caller. My God. I won't make my point. Anyhow, go ahead, cell phone.
Hi, Michelle, Cialan Johnson.
Cialan, I know you long-winded. You got to make this one quick.
It'll be quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yeah.
Hi, Ms. Johnson, Cadet, and Ms. Hollis. This is the problem I have with this debate. I've heard for almost 2 decades. Is the fact that it becomes convoluted and conflated. You start talking about single women and this and that and everything else. Okay, first of all, let me say this too. Religion is a new incarnation. But when you talk about the Bible, you're talking pre-religion. Religion is just an organized belief of individuals. You could use the Bible or something else of that sort. When we talk about training men, if we say that 70% plus or 78% of households are headed by women without men, then we need to begin to have our daughters, our sisters, and whatever begin to enculturate this within our young men who is there in those homes without fathers. Now, I just wanted to understand this, right? That if we take this directly to the Sexual Offences Act, this has nothing to do with anything but one thing, rape and marriage. Now, I want the ladies to listen to me very carefully. If you look at, supposedly, forget the marriage certificate, the institution and the relationship in marriage, and I say to you that rape cannot occur in marriage. And if he or she has to rape, because if you look at the Sexual Offences Act, it covers both means, it defines how rape can occur. Even it uses the fact that you could use force, you could use threats, you could use bodily harm, a lot of influences that you can use. And so even in that, using those circumstances, I can make an argument that she made me have sex with her because I didn't do this or whatever. So that's not the thing. The point is this. When you get to the point that you have to use force or those type of influence on your mate, you do not have a marriage, which then goes to 15 of the Sexual Offences Act that addresses this issue already, except that we just need to clarify a few things. Number 15 says, and it says a person who has sexual intercourse with his spouse without the consent of the spouse. But it gives a caveat, said where there's an existence relation to a decree of divorce, a decree of judicial separation, a separation degree, an order of court, etc. That means that we must seek to modify the Marriage Act to allow a person who, at the moment they find there's a breakdown in the marriage, that they can have quick redress, whether it be uncontested divorce or no-fault divorce, whether it be a faster judicial system so that individuals can declare themselves to be no longer interested to be involved with these individuals. So if we could just go and fix the Sexual Offences Act, we could actually open a doorway to mitigate this right now without all of this debate. But at the same time, we have to create some social safety nets, because the problem is our economy does not allow, even for some women or some men, if you want to use that argument, to be in a position where they would not go and get that decree or get that separation because they can't sustain themselves. So they almost indirectly put themselves in a situation. So when you change the law, you don't change the circumstances. And so I would love to see us have a debate without the religious rhetoric, because no matter what we say, our Constitution preamble says we reside by religious values, but it also says the rules of law. So let's change the rules of law. And we can solve this. And I've said this for 2 decades. I'm finished. I'm saying we could have solved this for 2 decades if we just stopped making it a rape with the wife thing. This is how does rape occur in a situation where they are legally married, not in the word marriage as in relationship, where they are legally married.
Okay.
That's the defect, and that's what we could address tomorrow in the House of Assembly if we want to.
Thank you so much for that insight. We have to take a quick break, and I determined to make my point. So we lost that last caller, so I can make this point because Cisco opened another can of worms. But we got to take a break, y'all. I missed one of my breaks in the show today because this is only the second break, right? Or is this the third? Second? I guess we can miss the third break. Anyway, let's go to the break. We'll be back, and then I am going to throw a monkey wrench in this whole thing and leave you all with your mouth open. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, paint, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
Welcome back. Clearly, a part 2 of this conversation is necessary. And in the next part 2, I'm going to work towards maybe next week, Tuesday. We need to have some male voices on this panel as well. So I'm going to work towards that. But I want to leave you all with this thought. I only got 2 minutes left, so I got to make it quick. Stacey says, you got to be dizzy not to know that marital rape is about to come on the books here in the Bahamas. Out of over 200 countries, only 23 countries don't have this law, and the UN wants our law to be updated. Okay, bouncing off of that. I'm not taking any more calls. Have you ever wondered why, if this is a global agenda, it is? I put it to you that this global agenda, if you want to call it that, doesn't have necessarily anything to do with marriage between a man and a woman. Somebody said to me in a recent conversation with regard to this, that we are missing the point from a global perspective because there seems to be a very high prevalence of sexual violence in same-sex marriages. And therefore, there is a move around the world to ensure that the laws on the books remove the clause, if you will, of who is not his spouse, so that this can apply to marriage, period. Whether it's a same-sex marriage, whether it's a marriage between a man and a woman, it won't matter because they're trying to prepare the way for the introduction of same-sex marriage. And I thought to myself, well, now blow me down. I hadn't thought of that. A minute left. I can let y'all marinate on that thought until we come together again. Ladies, I would love to give you all time to close out, but we only got a minute. We don't even have a minute. It's 4:00. I'm going to reach out to y'all about a show for next week, Tuesday. I'm going to try to get some men on the panel. Let's broaden this conversation because this is bigger than we understand and know. And we got to be woke. And I hope I didn't just cloud the issue even more, but this is food for thought. Gotta go. Thank you, ladies, for being here today. Thank you for all of you who called, sent messages, etc. We definitely will do a part 2 on this because Clint, you asked for it, you got it. It's 4:00. Gotta get out of here. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow's Wellness Wednesday. We're going to be talking about an issue that's important to your health. Until then, take care, everybody. Be safe.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
This is 99.